When you're making a show
Yeah.
that is about a culture that maybe the majority of the people that are watching the show or can potentially watch the show are not familiar with, how do you make sure it satisfies the people of the culture and represents them, but also is appealing to people who are unaware of it? That's something when I was watching the first episode, I was like, God, this is like really fun. It was maybe I'm curious and I like these things, but it was like really fun to learn the little nuances of the culture. But do you think about that?
Yeah, we think about it all the time. I mean, and this is something that has been exciting about getting to make most show on Netflix with him too, is that it's a totally different tone and it highlights different things. So there's a lack, and so we never really create from a lack. So if I'm making something and I'm saying, well, there's nothing, so it has to be everything, I think it would probably be pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I kind of make something knowing there will be a lot of people who don't like that it doesn't have this thing or that thing, or don't like what I'm focusing on or whatever, but the parts that do work, I want them to at least work for me, or like to work for people who I know will find it fun. So it being its own thing. But yeah, we don't think about too much of, where people might be upset or anything. We want to be sensitive, but if you make it from that, comedy, it's not fun when you're just thinking about the reaction.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a show called RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah.
You familiar with it?
I've heard of it.
Incredibly popular show.
Yeah.
And I was speaking to, Mateo.
Yeah, of course.
Lane,
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah.
And he said, well, the reason why not the reason, but one of the reasons why the show is so popular in the gay community is because it didn't feel like a gay show that was made for straight people.
Yeah.
And I watched your show, and I didn't feel like it was made for me.
Yeah.
Like there were things I didn't understand.
Yeah.
And I was really cool because I'm curious, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know these things. But it didn't feel as like, this is how Egyptian Muslims are, white people.
Right.
Is that the secret?
Well, that's also what Akash was saying too about like why it's hard to watch sometimes.
Yeah,
when it's like
real,
you.
dude.
Yeah, because you're like, oh wait, this is kind of like me, and that's why it's hard to watch. Because I actually think it is for us. And so sometimes people will be like, oh, you're making this show for America and you're whitewashing it or whatever. I'll have people say that, and I always find that odd because it's an American show, but it's so specific to our community. It's like so much of what we're getting into.
And I also think they don't understand what it's not like it's a struggle, but it is different being American, Egyptian, American, and Indian. Because there's an episode in season 1 where you go back to Egypt, and there was a moment that stuck with me when you're like trying to talk to your Egyptian cousin in Egypt, and you're like, I want to go see this place and this place. And he just fucking like puts you in your place in a way that's like, oh shit, that made me think about my relationship with my cousins in India. Yeah. Like it really does. It hits you in a way that you're like, oh fuck, I never looked at myself that way.
Yeah. You feel like an outsider. Yeah.
Yeah, and then some of the truths are harsh.
Yeah. Is any of the negative feedback frustrating when like you put all the time into making something for you and like the people that look like you and your experience, and then just to have someone be like, maybe someone from like a different Muslim sort of like contingent be like, hey, you didn't represent this correctly, you're doing this wrong, you're embarrassing all of us. Yeah,
I mean, it sometimes is just disappointing because it's like you want to connect. That's why we do this. That's why we do comedy. It's like, oh, I just want to connect with people. But then, so sometimes I'll feel bad about it, but then also sometimes it's so ridiculous that I can't even pay attention to it. Like we had put out pictures just for season 2, just pictures. And it was like me and Mahershala Ali praying. And first comment, brother, he has too many prayer beads. I was like, okay, well, here we go. I was like, you haven't even heard him talk. Too many beats, brother. I'm like, oh, wow, this is going to be a fun one. I can't wait to see what happens, But the other thing is, because part of this is a reaction to what's been done to us. So for so many decades, most of the content about us is documentaries. Right. That can be dehumanizing or only show kind of the worst parts. So we're almost, as an audience, because we have so little comedy, we're in documentary mode. So people walk into my show and they're kind of like, wait, this isn't real? And it's like, well, yeah, it's a comedy. It's like any other comedy. But we've been so conditioned that everything we're watching about us is like a news report. And so they think I'm making a news report with jokes. And so, again, I don't blame the audience. I mean, I think we're in a tough spot.
Right. Just because you're Muslim, you don't necessarily have their trust. Like they're skeptical as a
because there's been a massive lack and everything that we've seen.
And I think they want to be represented because the representation is normally pretty negative. I see this a lot with my parents. Like they hated Slumdog Millionaire. Because they're like, why are you only showing the bad parts of India? And it's like they're not trying to make a documentary, to your point. They're just making a movie about a kid who had a hard life. But because there's so many negative depictions of India, we're starving for something that shows the good stuff. So that they see this and like, what, another one, another fucking not.
But it's also like where cinema and TV are at right now, right? So I think there was an era of like a lot of like optimistic television.
Yeah,
you know,
I
something
love that.
like a Cosby Show, or you know,
Love it.
All in the Family, like something that's super positive. And you know, Cosby Show, more black men started going to college. You know, the
Different
statistical
world, apparently,
fact.
like statistically,
Yeah,
also.
statistical fact. You know, in America, right? So
Will and
there's
Grace, the same thing.
Well, right.
Yeah.
So there's
What
this like
happened with
level
that?
of.
Like after the film came out, like it was, some people say that it advocated for gay marriage, and like it was from
Joe
that.
Biden said that.
Yeah,
Joe Biden. I mean, it's so funny. This is so recent, and this is what's really funny about America too, because they look at like other parts of the world and say, "Oh, they're so backwards and this and that." Biden, I think it was not even 2010, 11, said Will and Grace made him accept gay people. That's why he wants to have gay marriage.
Exactly.
That feels like that's recent.
There's
You know
polling
what I
data
mean?
from like the 90s, and it's like 70% of Americans are against gay marriage, and then Will and Grace comes out, and then by like 2007, 8, it's like 30% against gay marriage.
Yeah.
But I remember them being pissed at Biden because they
Why-
were like,
why-
Obama was supposed to be supportive first. You know what I mean? Like even Obama wasn't.
Why would why does Will and Grace make people accept gay marriage?
Because you see gay people three-dimensionally as humans, people you like, whereas for a lot of us
that
growing
show
up,
is gay.
It's a gay
he
show.
hasn't seen an episode.
Will and Grace is about a guy and a girl.
I mean, I actually have never seen the show.
And he's gay and lives with his best friend
you know,
who's
it's
a girl.
possible for a guy and a girl to not fuck each other, right, on TV?
I don't know about all that.
No.
I don't know about that, dude. Wait. So Will and Grace was about a gay guy.
Are you doing a
And
thing?
I'm not doing a fucking thing. I'm not watching Will and Grace. I'm
You're
not
acting
acting
like-
queer. You know what I mean? What do you think is going on over
Your
here?
outfit says differently, but
Yeah. This thing right here. Okay.
Look at Ramy.
I don't understand.
The longer
what's
we
going
go,
on.
I feel less upset that he's only seen one episode.
he's seen nothing. He's seen
They
nothing.
keep asking me to watch Seinfeld. You know, one of these days I'm gonna get
such
to
a
it.
deeply uncultured individual.
Yeah, I'm not cultured. Okay. All right. No, but you were saying before.
Yeah, let me try and find it.
Mark brought up his fucking gay shit. And you were talking about actual cool, interesting things. And he was like, "Hi, I'd like to talk about the LGBT for a second." It's like, can Muslims have a fucking moment, white guy? Jesus Christ.
Bro, there's gonna be a gay fatwa on your head,
Dude, what's
bro.
going
I'm
on
telling
with
you.
this guy, dude?
I'm telling you.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
I'm expanding the caliphate, bro.
There's gonna be a gay
Do you
fatwa.
know if you've expanded the caliphate?
I don't know.
I think you have, dude. I saw a blonde girl that was Muslim on TikTok.
And you think it was because of me?
100%. I think you definitely had a part of it. 100%. Yeah, blonde Muslim girl on TikTok.
Be Lebanese,
The
Muslim.
blonde Muslim, I think is her name.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Damn.
What I was gonna say.
And we're back. We're back.
What I was gonna say was Cosby, right? Like just that kind of show. We haven't had that, and then I think the show that I did make is so much weirder. So it's this weird thing where it's like cinema and TV are at this kind of evolved place where it's like no one would even make Cosby now because I think most audiences are like, we already saw that. We want
It's
something
not
a little
real.
bit different.
Tastes like
it doesn't
saccharin.
feel as grounded. We're kind of in a more grounded satirical place just in terms of television and cinema. But then you have groups who just haven't had a show that's even just like quote unquote normal. So again, like I kind of feel for that. I feel for when the audience doesn't like what I'm doing because I'm like, I get it. You do want the Cosby moment, but the Cosby moment was 40 years ago, 30 years ago. And so it's weird because it's this time gap. Yeah.
Go out.
No, I'm saying it's always going to be people in your culture who are the most critical of.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like, think about like the Powers or the Empires. Like it was black people complaining the most about those shows.
Yeah.
And like, oh, it's so inauthentic to.
It's personal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's personal. But the conversation's all good in a way, even if people are disagreeing, because that's kind of the whole point. Because if it's touching on a nerve, then people are talking about something. And then the whole point is for a show to create conversation.
How long did it
That's
take you to get to that place emotionally? Even if it's negative, at least they're talking.
Yeah. After the second season, I got to that place.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many takes of that guy cleaning your feet did you have to do?
A lot.
Really?
Yeah, it was in the
was
pilot.
that weird when
You
he was
gotta do
going
a
in
lot of-
between? Because that shit was super
that
vulnerable.
happened to me at a mosque.
Get outta here.
Yeah, this guy, was trying to show me how to do the cleaning for the prayer. So he grabbed my foot and
And he was webbing to webbing.
he webbed.
He webbed.
Yeah, I was webbed. And it happened. and I wrote about it, and I'm here, and I'm okay.
Oh, nice. Congrats.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fire. Do you still talk to that guy?
I didn't know him. Yeah, no, I don't. I've
you-
never seen him again.
No
Yeah.
eye contact, nothing. Just
Well, I didn't like get webbed and then ask for his number. Like, no, it was just, it ended there. He was,
As a Catholic, I've had similar experiences.
Yeah. It wasn't a weapon, but it looks like a web when it comes out.
We'll talk about it later.